Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted up the game. Obviously, don't take that step seriously and just leave the clock at 1200 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention, for the most part, yes. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. This has been so cooperative. Next time you boot up the game and see the screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whatever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Have you tried using that bird calling app?
What?
That bird calling app that Grandpa gave you?
Yeah, I have.
Let's get you back to the video game now. Am I gonna get the achievement for welcome back? Come on.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story.
Wait, isn't this Kevin McLeod? I'm like 99% sure that is Kevin. Also, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I am getting the achievement for Super Sliders. Just adjust all the sliders to every possible number. It's not too hard to do, but it takes a while. I think once I get the sound effects, it should be easy. Let me just try and get the speedrun achievement real quick. To beat the game in under 4 minutes 27 seconds. Welcome back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
New content. What is new this time? Ooh. More elevator action.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra-deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra-deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Ooh.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what
Apple
fans
computer.
have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Alexa, stop it. Jazz, what? Just a Timberlake. Journey.
The right side of the brain.
Journey.
Yeah. Yo, it's the fern! They said this fern would be important later in the game. Or TSP. Better TSP. Would. Too. The color red. Leverage. Holistic value. Paradigm shift. Synergy. Brick and mortar approach. Envelope client-centric marketing.
Here's C's for Cookie by Cookie Monster.
Stanley Parable 2 logo ideas.
Alexa, play C's for Cookie.
Here's C is for Cookie, live by Cookie Monster on Amazon Music.
Now, what starts with the letter C?
Alexa, stop it. Here's Bean.
There's two of them.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything
Who
scientific.
took the red
or
marker?
logical.
Me.
Here's I Like the Way by High Five on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it. Yes, party in my tummy.
See, oh yes, yes. Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman: Arkham Asylum 2, City, Divinity: Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar, Dark Souls 2. I've played Dark Souls 2. It's hard. The prequel to the Stanley Parable.
John Williams from Pandora.
Alexa, stop it. John Williams. Beep. Alexa, put Jaws.
Here's a station you might like. Ultimate Jazz on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it.
Here we are. Go on. Try out some of the new features.
It's cool. Office decorations, the Stanley Parable reassurance bucket, the button that says the name of the player that the game is playing. That's new. The button that says the name of the player that is playing the game.
Alexa, play
Hear your name in game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Alexa, stop it.
Does it know my name?
Jim. Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
Okay.
Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Okay.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Alexa, play SpongeBob.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Jim. It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Jim. I should have pressed the Jim button more when I had the chance.
Alexa, play Yo Gabba Gabba.
I love the Jim button.
Shuffling songs by Yo Gabba Gabba on Amazon Music.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Ooh, those are cool floors.
Alexa, play Happy Birthday from Grandpa.
The new updated ray traced, but more of the same, but in a good way, sequel to the
Alexa, stop it.
the jump circle, the infinite hole.
Alexa,
Free new and easy trophy. I can't believe it's that simple. Get it here.
Shuffling songs by SpongeBob SquarePants on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it.
Get yours right now. Pull the lever. Receive your new trophy. No more steps. It just works. Get yours right now.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test trophy that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Alexa, playing sexy in the number from that video. Alexa, play Left My Family from the Roots. Stop it. Open your eyes. Alexa, play TV Zulu for Crazy State from Taylor Swift.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Collectibles.
Alexa, play Mary Jill Bot.
Don't stop being bought.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Alexa, play You Up Highway from Lazy Cat.
That's Stanley. That is it.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
See, boy.
The 8 button.
You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Open your S.
Okay.
Or actually,
Alexa, play
maybe
the
I should have
Upside
gone
Down
with...
Soulful
No,
Noggin.
no, I've made my decision.
There's the
We're
QR
moving on.
code. Where is my phone? There's my phone. I'm sitting on it.
Alexa, play David Day. Alexa, stop it.
Hang on, I'm pulling up a QR code.
Alexa, play the Upside Down Show.
connected first. In the Alexa app,
The Stanley Parable 2.com.
Here's the upside.
I opened the link. Let's see. Welcome to the official website of the Stanley Parable 2. Taste the sequel. Now in Expo Hall 2.
Say there, Timmy. What's that you're enjoying?
Alexa,
Why,
play
it's
Jive
breakfast,
on
of course.
Jive.
Everyone loves breakfast. But did you know that breakfast is getting a sequel? That's right. It's called Lunch.
Alexa,
And critics
stop
are raving that lunch will be everything breakfast was and more. With a little luck, we may even get a trilogy series out of it. Say, you know what a sequel is, don't you, Timmy? Why, sequels are the world's way of clinging helplessly to
Alexa,
the
play
past.
SpongeBob
We
SquarePants.
all want more of the things we love, and we're all afraid of change, which is what makes sequels so popular. New ideas
Alexa,
are
stop
dangerous,
it.
Timmy, and they can lead to early aging. This eager-minded young thinker is just 29 years old. That's why we have sequels, to keep us couched in the familiar and the comfortable. Sequels are the bedrock of a healthy, functional
To
society.
control
And if
your
you look
device
around
if
you,
you
you'll
want.
find them everywhere you go. For instance, this man is developing a sequel to the automobile, which we'll call the vertical automobile. It's a useless, impractical invention. And in 2 days' time, the man will be publicly stoned to death for his crimes against gravity. Not all sequels are heretical nonsense, however. Here's the man who invented breathing, which is the sequel to suffocating and dying a slow death. Even your parents are getting a sequel, Timmy. Their names are Rob and Jessica, and they'll be taking care of you once your original parents are sent back in time to fight a secret war for the government. Sequels can be very fashionable. This young woman is wearing 5 shirts at once, which is the sequel to wearing 4 shirts at once. Look at Becky over there, wearing only 2 shirts at once. Get with the times, Becky. In fact, there is only one single thing in the world that isn't a sequel. It's this. We don't know what it is or why it exists, but it's the prequel from which all sequels are derived. And just like everything else, the Stanley Parable is getting a sequel too. We all know, of course, that it was your favorite game as a child. Don't you remember those long, lazy afternoons you spent playing the Stanley Parable? Watching your precious youth fritter away hour after hour.
Alexa, play
We've
the
all wasted
upside
our
down
childhoods
show.
in one way or another, and you were fortunate enough to get to waste yours on the Stanley Parable.
Amazon Music.
But the Stanley Parable came out
Alexa,
years
stop
ago,
it.
and you're not a child
To
anymore. You're a man, which is like the sequel to a child. And as a
Here's
man,
the upside down show from forward 90. Take it easy.
It's like taxes and cheating at baseball.
By the Jaws by Jaws. He's back to school. Like to go. Started to cook. Alexa, play the upside down show.
To control a video device with your voice, you need to connect it first. In the Alexa app, go to Settings, and then CD and video to get started.
Stop. The Jaws by Jaws. Alexa, stop it. App. What's Dave Apple app? Oh, Alexa, volume up. Antiquity to control. Here's the upside down show. Here's the upside. Program early. What else? Here's the up. Here's sorry. the upside down.
The fact remains that his personal information was the emotional core of the game, absolutely vital in his understanding of the story. As reparation for the harm we caused him, the sequel will contain a brief and insincere apology to Leroy to people in the game, where it will be difficult to find.
Alexa, play SpongeBob, but
Made the mistake of leaking too many government secrets about the
Alexa, play SpongeBob. Alexa, play SpongeBob SquarePants backwards.
The story is likely to make very little sense, but we've decided to remove them from the sequel in the interest of helping the state's efforts. We'll get to you yet, Time Dracula. Now then, it's time to set about implementing the Stanley Parable 2. Game development is
Alexa, volume up.
one which can only be fully understood by this race of hyper-intelligent child soldiers bred in laboratories. By studying the original Stanley Parable, here it is in its raw, untouched form, a specimen of technological perfection. Time to exploit it for profit. We begin by adding jokes. The Stanley Parable was most widely known for its stark mocking all conventional industry wisdom.
I'm watching this video that they gave you on the website. I've been watching this for like 5 minutes and I'm only halfway through.
Its developers stood firmly behind. But in 2022, it's impossible to reach even a single consumer of video games without jokes of some kind. So very well, jokes it'll be.
Alexa, play the
During
upside
its
down
development,
show.
over 500 kiloliters of comedy will be funneled directly into the core of the Stanley Parable 2, creating jobs for hundreds of machine operators and producing 30,000 tons of pollutant chemical byproduct, which will be pumped directly into local lakes, rivers, and beautiful nature reserves like these all over the country. Another common complaint of the Stanley Parable is that there wasn't enough gameplay, and so for the sequel, its developers have gone to great lengths to fix this problem. Here we can see gameplay being printed onto sheets. Every video game contains as many as 1,000 sheets of gameplay, and several of the largest games ever made contain close to 1,500. On mobile devices, the gameplay sheets have to be printed smaller. For the Stanley Parable 2, as many as 35 new gameplay sheets are being printed, each of which must be delicately massaged by the hands of a child before being added into the game. This man is stealing gameplay sheets from the factory, which he likely intends to use for a personal project he's been developing in his spare time. A good public stoning will cure him of that inclination. Let's check on Gregory real quick. Still recovering from a hard day's work. Don't you move a muscle. Next up, it's time to blackmail the press. In a competitive market, blackmailing your local journalist can be one of the most effective methods of creating word-of-mouth buzz for your sequel. In fact, blackmail is the currency of social progress. From your neighborhood grocer to the teacher at your school to the man who helped you steal HBO, everyone responds to blackmail.
To the man who helped you steal HBO.
It's easy to practice at home with your friends and family. Simply follow the instructional pamphlet that your teacher hands out after the end of the film. And finally, there's one last tool at our disposal for making the sequel feel fresh and exciting. And that's packaging the game with collector's edition merchandise. If you order the Stanley Parable 2, you'll receive this cow's egg. A single egg will produce over 1,000
Wait, that's a Band-Aid commercial.
which are, of course, the sequel to pigs. And there you have it. Everything there is to know about producing the Stanley Parable 2. Of course, you may know that there is also a game titled The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. So which game is the true sequel to the Stanley Parable? It's an excellent question, Billy. One which the child soldiers have been working round the clock to come up with an answer to. And after many weeks of diligent research, the conclusion they've reached is, who gives a shit? All that matters is that it's more content for you to cram down your insatiable gullet. You don't want thoughtful and nuanced answers to complex questions, Billy. You just want to eat bubble gum and cheated hopscotch. So get out there and consume. Do your civic duty and bully your parents into buying you every version of the Stanley Parable 2 on every platform. Tell your friends to bully their parents as well. It's through community efforts like these that the world comes together in harmony and connection. And it's only through this connection that we'll defeat Time Dracula once and for all. Don't let the time-traveling vampires win. Buy the Stanley Parable 2 and pledge to support all sequels for today, tomorrow, and into the great unknowable beyond.
Alexa, please hit the flags.
In Memoriam of Billy, 1953 to 1959.
Alexa, stop it. Hold it. That's amazing. F-I. Don't do that. Alexa, play Jaws.
Wait, I need to check something real quick. Okay.
Alexa, play Miss Patty.
Oh my god, it's the button that says Jim.
Should I play Miss Patty?
No. The reassurance bucket.
Alexa, play SpongeBob.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
There it
You
is.
see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Alexa, stop it. You submit SpongeBob. It's more SpongeBob.
I'm keeping the
Does anyone
bucket.
give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Alexa, play Jaws. Ho, ho, ho. Alexa, play We Miss You Merry Christmas.
Here's the Wish You a Merry Christmas by John Denver and Bucket on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it. Miss John. Alexa, play Peppa Pig.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Alexa, stop it.
Yeah, let's go.
Boomers.
Whee!
From Boomers. Journey.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Now I'll just keep falling.
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole.
Alexa,
Is it a very, very deep
somebody
hole?
just turn off
To be certain it
some
is.
music.
It's an extremely deep hole. I don't want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a...
Hey, I lived!
Hey, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling. What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. Just.
Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
They don't want to explore.
Here's now Dear, the Sound of Music by Rob Pilgrim on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, play SpongeBob SquarePants theme song.
SpongeBob SquarePants theme song by SpongeBob SquarePants on Amazon Music.
Audio radio.
I can hear you.
Alexa, play SpongeBob SquarePants.
Here's some music by SpongeBob SquarePants on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it. Here's Bob. SquarePants says something.
Don't know if any of y'all
Alexa, play the
Okay, I'm gonna go back up.
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Alexa, play Party Rock. Wow. Alexa, play that tonight's gonna be a good night. Wow. Alexa, play Dynamo Now from Just Dance. Alexa, stop it. Alexa, play Oh, Sometimes I Good Feeling. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know that.
What? Alexa, play Come Here Maybe.
Here's Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it. Alexa, play All About the Baseball.
Here's All About That Bass by Scott Bradley's postmodern jukebox featuring Kate Davis on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it. Alexa, forward. Oh. Alexa, sing the Upside Down Show.
The Upside Down is the Upside Down Show Season 2, The Upside Down Show Season 3, The Upside Down Show Season 5, The Upside Down Show Season 4, and The Upside Down Show Season 1.
Uno. Choice uno.
The Stanley Parable Settings World Champion.
Forward. I cannot hear. What you doing?
Showing results for the Stanley Parable.
Alexa, play SpongeBob SquarePants theme song.
SpongeBob SquarePants theme song by SpongeBob SquarePants on Amazon Music.
Are you ready, kids? I Captain, I can hear you. I Captain. Oh, I never want to see SpongeBob. Going to see SpongeBob SquarePants in a complete something with SpongeBob SquarePants. Robert and people like a fish. SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh, so it's every single setting.
SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. Alexa, play song again. Hey kids, I Captain, I can hear you. I Captain. Oh, where's up? I'm gonna see SpongeBob SquarePants. Tell me what is he SpongeBob SquarePants? You know, I'm just something with SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob already. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob SquarePants. Alexa, play song again. Alexa, play SpongeBob theme song.
SpongeBob SquarePants theme song by SpongeBob SquarePants on Amazon Music.
Do I have to get all of these in a single run?
Alexa, play song again. It's SpongeBob SquarePants. SpongeBob song. Alexa, play song again.
I will
stop it.
It's including turning buttons on and off.
Alexa, play Crazy Steak, Fun Team Boomy.
To control a video device with your voice, you need to connect it first. In the Alexa app, go to Settings, and then TV and Video to get started.
Yes, settings world champion. Let's do it.
Settings.
Let's get it. Ooh.
Alexa, play song again.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Alexa, stop it.
Stepping into his manager's office.
Alexa, play SpongeBob SquarePants.
Shuffling songs by SpongeBob SquarePants on Amazon Music.
Alexa, play SpongeBob SquarePants from Nickelodeon.
To control a video device with your voice,
Boys,
you need to connect it first.
First, in the Alexa app, go to Settings, and then to Video to get started. Alexa, stop it. To control.
Yes.
I just woke up.
I've been awake for 2 hours. And I just unlocked this door right here. See, settings world champion. That is me. And I have the reassurance bucket with me.
Ah, I can see you
Great
got
job,
the
you
Settings
did it.
World Champion trophy. Well done. You've experienced every setting, traveled to all corners of the
Yes.
settings menu. There's nothing you haven't seen. So just for you, in the Stanley Parable 2, I'm including an entirely new setting, something called bumpscosity. What exactly is bumpscosity? Well, I haven't quite figured that part out yet, but I know that you'll be able to adjust it on some sort of slider and that it'll be accessible from the settings menu. We'll sort out the rest of the details later. I hope you're looking forward to trying
It's
out
me.
every level of bumpscosity in the Stanley Parable 2.
This is me.
Alexa, play Hamster Dance from the Hamster. Alexa, play Hamster Dance from the Hamster.
Yeah, check this out.
Alexa, stop it. What? Master. Mickey Masters.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out
Alexa,
later.
play Hot Dog Mouse, good for the boy. Alexa, play hot dog.
What else do we got? 5. This map. Q. Free trophy. Yeah. Ow.
Alexa, stop it. Alexa, play Hamster Dance.
Here's the Hamster Dance song by Hamster Dance Master on Amazon Music.
Alexa, stop it. Alexa, play.
I'm going back for the trophy. I'm just gonna keep pressing the button. The Stanley Parable test trophy.
Showing results for the Stanley Parable test trophy.
Years later.
Okay, I think this is enough. 2,000 years later, I'm gonna keep pressing this. I guess now I exit. Damn, boy, he's thick. It's a thick ass boy, damn. Bow. Exit.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
Yes.
Ready to move on now?
Yes. I'm taking the bucket with me.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features?
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
I
pretty
know
cool.
it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay.
Oh.
Yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Oh. What do we got? Oh! This is cool. I love this music, dude. This is actually really cool. Oh my god, they have a freaking Discord.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in this building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
Stanley Parable 2.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone.
Yes.
What could it mean? Stanley decided
Happy
to go to a
12th
meeting.
birthday,
Perhaps he had
Stepney!
sent a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace.
Yeah, but look at these. You got happy 12th birthday, step-niece.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it? Stanley picked up the bucket.
Yes! I didn't even see the bucket. But now I have the bucket. The bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Room closet? No.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked
And the
upstairs
bucket.
to the boss's office.
Now let's go down to Al again. I like to Al. See there, Al. Oh, wait, okay. What is this?
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
I'm doing that. I am savoring the figures. The figurine is good. I like this. I like the bucket. Yes, the good bucket. Another one.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
No, it's actually locked.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would.
The bucket.
And he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket
I
that he
can't
didn't
see
notice the
me
keypad behind
loving
the boss's
nobody
desk.
like
Nor in
you.
his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
These things really aren't hard to find, are
Okay,
they?
I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What
Figlies!
name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Elevator! Our favorite thing to do. We all love our elevator.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards
Yeah.
an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything
The
will be
bucket!
fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Yeah, we're dead. Oh god, not this ending. Oh, I forgot about this. We already did this. We already freaking did this. I'm not doing that again. That led us to the museum. And that museum was so big.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Figure Finders Committee meeting today in the meeting room.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on
So
his
you
left.
find us? Yes. How we can find them. Bottom text. Well, we know small floating objects have appeared across the office. We have to synergize our resources to ensure the retrieval. There are many questions. There's no memo from management. Agenda. How can you tell you saw one? What makes it float in the air? Who took pictures? Who took these pictures of them? Fig leads are hard to find. Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it, Red Roo. Thank you. Good luck. Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the frick up. To whom it may concern, I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambience or local. So, yeah. Ooh. Trust the completionist instinct. Mission status. Inside a sequel exhibit, a large room, lots of boxes. Somewhere both red and blue. A private but smelly place for an important person. Gotta collect them all. What do you think about it? What is some place that is both red and blue? Huh. Red and blue. I don't know. There will be a reward for finding them all. Lies. Stop kidding yourself. I want them so much. I want to go home. There will be cleaning of this wall required.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Actually, wait, is it red and blue down here?
But Stanley just couldn't do it.
Like, see, red
Considered
and
the
blue?
possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished. His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason
Wait,
at
are we
all.
looping?
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it.
I'm dead.
I'm dreaming! He yelled.
Close enough.
This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not seem to make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
He's having a mental breakdown. And I'm still here! Congratulations.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me.
Oh, my eyes are bloodshot.
I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
Bloodshot eyes.
And everything went black.
What? Oh, okay.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Wait, what?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
I'm dead! Let's go! Finally! I've been wanting this for such a long time. Yeah, I did it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Okay, I need to
Perhaps he had
turn down
simply
my mic.
missed a memo.
I'm taking the
Stanley
bucket this
lifted the
time.
bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
I love the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly
No.
to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
I
Was
love the
this
bucket.
better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
I love the bucket. I can't see me loving no bucket like you for all my
Truly,
life.
being here with the bucket was a grand adventure. Stanley reflected on all they'd been through together. First, walking through the door on the right, then walking to the lounge, then arriving at the lounge. What a thrilling journey the bucket had inspired.
I love the bucket. Who doesn't love bucket? Ooh, I love the
Perhaps
bucket.
this was where the bucket felt most truly at home. Here in the employee lounge. Perhaps it's the only place a bucket can even feel at home.
Bucket. I love this is a bucket. Dear God, there's more.
Stanley decided to just give the bucket absolutely as much time as it needed to be in the lounge. Clearly, the bucket and the employee lounge shared a special connection.
The bucket loves this. Cause he can get a drink. Get a drink. Only $1.25. Get a can just to freaking get the drink. Get the drink. Alright.
But finally, the bucket was done being in the lounge, and they took the first open door on their left to get back to business.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Toss it. Do not lie. If you're lying right now, stop. Wait, this ramp... I have never seen this ramp before. Oh. Oh, it's a Stanley figurine. See that? Oh.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines.
Figler
Very soon,
and
you'll collect the
Marines.
last one, and then the
I'm having
first
an
number will
aneurysm.
equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines.
I love
None
a
of us
Figler
can.
and Marine. Who doesn't love a Figler and Marine? Wait, can I jump down from here? Do you think that now, since like I'm closer to the ground, I can jump off?
Alexa, play the output machine.
I can land on these boxes. Oh. Kobe!
But Stanley feared that any path
Ow.
he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
What is... Am I that emotionally attached to the bucket? Who doesn't love the bucket? Like Buc-ee's, the gas station.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
How can you not sacrifice
The
everything
confusion
for
and the
bucket?
chaos all
Yeah,
seemed to
I
melt
feel
away.
like the
as
bucket
Stanley
makes me
embraced the bucket.
feel good. Cause the bucket makes me feel safe.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to
I'm
his
willing
chest.
to
This was
talk
not the
about
correct way
nothing
to
but the
meeting
bucket.
room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose
I'm gonna go see what the bucket's talking about, then I'm gonna jump down there.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
The bucket.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone,
said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Wait, can I freaking...
Whoa! Why did you unplug the phone?
I unplugged the phone.
Resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny.
I'm not a jokester.
Bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is.
Yeah, it's called Any Stand-Up.
Right, let's take a look.
Yay, video. I love video.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies?
What?
And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper.
All right.
If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for
that's not good. That's not good. No, no.
To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny. I'm Dunny with the funny. I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good.
Okay.
This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So, with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Okay. Oh no.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy.
We all need the
That's what you'll
funnies.
call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video.
I am not done
Otherwise,
with the
who
funnies.
knows where we'd be right now? Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The funny is Dunny.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Oh, dang it.